You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 151, Overcoming FOMO as a Business Owner. If you're a business owner who wants to improve your time management and elevate your productivity so you can maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. We're going to be diving into the topic of FOMO, fear of missing out. Because I think as business owners that we have a bit of FOMO. Now, this topic came up as an episode idea from, my own inspiration. Because I have been experiencing quite a bit of FOMO as my son's schedule is much more laxed and he's home from school, when my husband is also home from work, and to them, almost every day seems like the weekend, right? And so I want to talk about FOMO, not just because we find ourselves in this pandemic of 2020. It's had me reflect back in times and experiences when I've experienced FOMO, but that my clients have actually expressed the temptation of kind of ditching and dodging the work that they know that they want to do or need to do in their business because of FOMO. FOMO can be such a temptation to hijack your productivity. So we're going to dive into that today. Now, before we get into that though, I want to remind you of a free mini training that I have for you. Now, if you have currently still been telling yourself, I'm not quite sure how anyone is saying they're at home bored. I don't know how they're saying that they have so much time on their hands. I get it. We are about 6 to 7 weeks into this, and I have yet to hear one business owner that has said they have more time now than they did before. And I get it. I hear you, and I understand you are wearing more hats than ever. You are probably doing projects and pivoting and servicing your clients at a high level, and all of that is taking time. So if you want to reclaim 30 minutes each and every day, join my free mini training, Take Back Your Time. Now, granted, this training was not created because of COVID-19. I, in fact, created it before, but nothing has changed. We as business owners need to take back our time. We need to take back control of our time. So join me as we begin that journey inside this mini training. Head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/take back your time. Again, that's theproductivityspecialist.com/take back your time. And a link will be in the show notes on the app that you're listening to this podcast. So just open up the show notes and click the link. And now let's get to the straight talk. All right. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to actually start with defining what FOMO is, because maybe you're like my husband and you had no idea what FOMO meant. FOMO is defined as fear of missing out, a pervasive apprehension that others might be having rewarding experiences from which one is absent. The social anxiety is characterized by a desire to stay continually connected with what others are doing. Okay, let's run through a few of these examples. The reason I even came up with this episode is because I have been experiencing a little bit of FOMO with my boys being home during the stay-at-home order. My son is at home and he is being homeschooled, but his schedule is much more laxed. And my husband's, at home from work. And so while my schedule has not changed at all, compound that on the fact that I can hear my boys wrestling and playing in the other room, or it's the middle of the day and they're watching movies, or I see that my friends are Netflixing or sitting by the pool or going on these long hikes. I am seriously experiencing FOMO. because they seem to be like on a really long vacation. And I feel like I'm working harder than ever to make sure that I show up for my clients, that I am serving in a big way, that I am able to, pivot and make decisions now so that my business is healthy and strong as we, work through navigating whatever comes out of this pandemic. And I realized that the only difference between myself and whom I seem to be comparing and feeling really like I'm missing out on life are those that are not business owners. Because my business owner friends are not telling me they have any extra time. And they seem to be in a very similar boat. And then I thought, well, what about my clients? And I thought, no, like my clients are not lounging around. You're literally trying to carve out any hours you can with also having the responsibility of homeschooling and eating home more and probably more home chores, right? Like all the things that we were talking about. I have yet to have a client tell me that they have more time. The fear of missing out is seeing other people have different experiences and want that more than what you're doing now in your business. And while it's being highlighted for me, and I feel like the only way that I'm able to stay the course is to double down and recommit. And I find myself recommitting more frequently to my plan for the day. And that temptation takes a lot of discipline. And some days I'm more disciplined than others. The first week, actually, I remember the first week that my husband was home from work, I remember at the end of the week telling him, you're a bad influence. I literally ditched twice this week. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I literally took like a 2.5 or 3 hour lunch break 2 days in a row this week. And that was not on my schedule. And for him, he just wanted to spend time. And I just wanted to spend time with him. And he didn't know that I had things on the calendar that I had, intended on doing. And so I felt myself, just being in the moment. But I realized that if I fall prey to the feelings that I feel in the moment and I don't stay true to my schedule and my routine and like what I'm setting out to do in my business, that I could in fact sabotage my business. And so we were together in high school and I'm like, you're literally like the bad temptation having me ditch school. But now it's 20 plus years later and I felt like I was ditching work. Now, there's two sides to that, right? I did that as a result of wanting to be in the moment and be with him. But I also want to experience balance, and I don't want to be in my office 24/7, and I don't want to work at the expense of missing out on all these opportunities that they have with more flexibility in their schedule. And so I'm sharing this with you in all honesty that I truly believe that you're experiencing very similar things. And here's how I navigated through it. And I just want to share this with you in case it's helpful. I first, step one, realized that I was having FOMO, that I did have a desire to want to adjust my schedule and be more present with my boys as they were home. And so once I identified that, I then proactively adjusted my schedule. So what that meant was breaking to have coffee with my husband in the morning, which he's not normally home in the morning, and we both enjoy coffee time. I also adjusted my lunchtime and made sure that I wasn't scheduling appointments on either side of my lunch hour and expanded that with more flexibility. I also gave myself permission to cut out early on Fridays, which I normally do have that flexibility. But at this time, it wasn't the time to add another project or to say yes to something extra because my afternoons were open. I really thought, you know what? I'm going to be more present to take advantage of, this opportunity that I have found myself in. So by doing those two steps, we're first identifying that I was tempted and then making a plan for how I could set myself up to not be tempted. And so now one lunch break was spent having a Nerf war fight in the streets. Another lunch was spent having a water gun fight and taping off bases in the streets. But all of this was because I communicated with them that I am going to have a little bit more of a lunch break and I would like to do an activity with them that is fun. And I don't want to feel like I'm missing out. Everything that I did to help navigate this time, it was so that I could stay true to my schedule and not feel like it's been hijacked. And it's also been really helpful for my mindset to make sure that I'm staying in the game and I'm incredibly present, the best that I can be while I'm working, and also working on being incredibly present while being with my family. The other thing that I want to point out to you is that the fear of missing out. Now, one thing is like fear of missing out with things that you're doing with your family. But we as business owners experience fear of missing out all the time. I want you to think about the shiny program or app or marketing strategy that you saw a friend do, or a conference that a friend was at, and now you're adding it, or they told you they're going to the conference, and so now you're adding it to your schedule. I want you to make sure that you can first identify when you're making decisions based on fear of missing out versus the strategy and plan that you already had in place. Those things can become a great deal of distraction and take you off the course of you achieving your dreams in your business. Now, I know earlier I was referencing, my business and things like that. When I say my business, I am interchangeably referring to my dreams. My business is a way to serve and also for me to accomplish my dreams. And I never want to accomplish my dreams like 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road at the expense of living the dream that I created. I was just having this conversation with my husband this morning, is that where I'm at in my business, 8 years ago when I started business, I could not have even possibly with a speckle, there was nothing in me that could have predicted the life that I live, the business that I have, the business model I have, the type of clients that I work with, the services I provide. It has changed and morphed so much over the last 8 years that I couldn't have even dreamt it. And so with my pursuit of where I'm going, I want to be so present to enjoy what I've already created. And what you've created when you said yes to the journey of entrepreneurship is the ability to have flexibility with your schedule. And I'm going to encourage you to practice that exercise with discipline, meaning being purposeful about it. Don't just lean into the way that you feel and you're ditching. In fact, this is one of the examples that I give to my clients, is that if you were to wear your hat of CEO and business owner, and then you wear your hat of employee, when you're wearing your hat of employee, how do you behave? Would you fire yourself? Now, if you're wearing the hat of employee and you literally disregard every schedule or every routine that your boss gave you, every strategy, every plan that the CEO or the boss said, this is the way that we're moving forward in the business. And when you show up for work, you're like, yeah, never mind. I actually feel like going to the movies. I actually feel like sleeping in. I actually feel like fill in the blank. And if it's not, I feel like showing up and giving my best and working hard. Would you still be employed? And the answer is no. The difference is that when we're an employee, we don't have those freedoms. It's very clear that if we choose to act and behave that way, we no longer have a job. Now, when we're a business owner and we act and behave that way, we rationalize and negotiate with ourselves why that is okay. You have lowered the standard of being disciplined and saying, you know what? I'm going to do hard things. I'm going to stick to my schedule even when I'm having FOMO. I am not going to, go out with my girlfriends on a Wednesday night late because I know that will, really mess with my sleep. And then I'm going to sleep in and then I'm going to get a late start the next day. Now, those can definitely happen every once in a while. But if you lean into that as more regular, you're going to feel very stuck in your progress and growing your business and showing up and feeling like you have the discipline to execute on the plans that you've had. We're experiencing FOMO in the here and now. There's FOMO all around us. Do not fall prey to the FOMO. Hold your dream. Hold the vision that you have for yourself and for your business and for your success. Do the things that feel a little hard now so that you can live that dream in the future. Because making the choice to fall prey to the way you feel in every moment will actually sabotage your success, because you are actually telling your other self, the business owner, that plan is irrelevant, that you just don't feel like showing up to work today. And I don't know many successful businesses that their employees have the freedom to do that and they still run a successful business. So if you're in your small business and you are your number one employee, you are probably the biggest asset in your business. Don't do it. Now, to circle back and close this out, do find a way to find your perfect imbalance. And that's what I did. As this season changed, I adjusted so that I didn't feel like I was putting myself in a situation of feeling FOMO in my own home. If you've listened to Productivity Straight Talk for some time, you've probably heard me talk about creating a schedule based on the season of your life. Now, your season of your life is going to be a little bit different. So my season of my life actually revolves around my son's school schedule. I travel much more in the summer. I do not work as many days in the summer. And that is all because I want to purposely spend more time with the family during the summer. I also take off 2+ weeks at the end of the year. Now, that doesn't happen on December 1st that I decide, so I'm just going to take a half a month off. I plan that way ahead of time so that I could figure out when do I show up? How do I show up? What's my launch plans? What's our sales plans? What does my team need from me so that I can take those weeks or days off? And that is the blessing, but can also be the curse of running your own business. So I'm going to tell you, go for it. Live your best life, but do it on purpose. Don't do it reactively based on FOMO. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure you go grab my free mini training, Take Back Your Time. You can do that by going to theproductivityspecialist.com/take back your time. I am so grateful for each and every one of you tuning in every single week. I would love to hear from you. So make sure you connect with me over on Instagram at Amber_DeLaGarza, DELAGARZA. Or if you're on Facebook, go find my Facebook page at The Productivity Specialist and send me a direct message. I want to hear from you. I literally want to put a face and a name to each of the listeners on the podcast. I do this for you. So make sure you connect with me. And no, I'm not talking to the other people. I'm talking to you. I'm in your ears right here and right now. So make sure you connect with me over on social, either on my Facebook page or my Instagram account. So that's my straight talk for you today. Until next time, have a productive week.